Gary Neville is a name synonymous with Manchester United. A one-club man who rose through the ranks, joining as a 14-year-old and playing over 600 games for the club. Despite not being as technically gifted as his brother Phil, Neville's grit, determination and leadership saw him lift 8 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, 2 Champions Leagues and even a World Club Cup. A true Red Devil through and through. Or is he? Because in recent years, listening to Gary Neville talk about Manchester United, you'd be forgiven for thinking he'd forgotten all about his legendary status at the club. Some fans believe he's gone from loyal servant to relentless critic. But why? Is this no overcorrection to avoid accusations of bias or something deeper? Let's take a closer look at Gary Neville's journey from United right back to one of football's most polarising pundits and why his commentary on Manchester United feels so out of sync with his history at the club. When Gary Neville hung up his boots in 2011, his transition to punditry felt natural. After a brief stint commentating on MUFC, Sky Sports came calling. He replaced Andy Gray, who had left under controversial circumstances, and immediately brought a fresh, insightful perspective to the job. Fans loved his tactical breakdowns and his willingness to call out players for poor performances, something many thought football pundits were afraid to do. But as the years rolled on, Neville's sharpness and edge seemed to dull. Maybe it's inevitable after a decade in the same role, but his commentary on Manchester United, in particular, has taken a noticeable turn. Instead of the balanced critique fans expected, he now sounds, at times, like he's bending over backwards to prove he's not biased towards the club. This raises the question, has Gary Neville become too determined to appear impartial, and in doing so, has he become one of Manchester United's harshest critics? It's common for ex-players to be accused of bias towards their former clubs, but Gary Neville occupies a strange place in the punditry world. Instead of being accused of favouritism, many fans argue that he's biased against Manchester United. Think about it, how often have you heard Neville praise United's opponents while downplaying United's achievements? Fouls against United players are shrugged off as soft, but the same tackles made by United players are reckless or borderline red cards. Then there's the in-game commentary, moments where Neville's frustrations with United buzz over into exasperation and his now famous noises when VAR is checking decisions against United, which seems to add unnecessary drama. It's no surprise that fans often wonder, is Neville trying so hard to be fair that he's gone too far, or is there a deeper issue at play here? Let's be clear, Manchester United have been far from perfect over the last decade. Poor performances, questionable transfers and inconsistent management have all deserved criticism. Neville's job as a pundit is to call these issues out, and when he does, it's hard to argue with him. But what about his in-game commentary? Take the recent match against Chelsea. Rasmus Højlund was pulled to the ground by his face, a clear foul. Neville's response? Nothing in that for me. It wasn't until the camera zoomed in on Højlund's scratched neck that it became undeniable. And how about the Rashford incident? Neville brushed it off as just his momentum, even though replays clearly showed Rashford being taken out after the ball had gone. And yet when Lisandro Martinez made the challenge, Neville immediately called for a red card and suggested VAR should intervene. Even after replays showed minimal contact, Neville stuck to his narrative, labelling Martinez as a lucky boy. These inconsistencies aren't isolated. Over the last few seasons, Neville has built a reputation for being overly critical of United players, managers and fans. His choice of words, disgusting, pathetic, disgrace, paint a picture of a man who seems more frustrated than impartial. But is this just Neville's way of staying relevant? Is he catering to rival fans who love to hear United being torn apart? Or is this part of a broader strategy to distance himself from accusations of bias? One of the more contentious moments in Neville's recent punditry came after the infamous 7-0 loss to Liverpool. He accused Bruno Fernandes of asking to be subbed off, a claim that many fans felt was baseless and inflammatory. This wasn't constructive criticism, it felt personal. Take his commentary in the recent Manchester derby. Neville spent most of the game lamenting United's performance while praising City's dominance. But when United staged a comeback, his tone remained flat, dismissive even, as though he couldn't bring himself to celebrate anything positive about his former club. During the recent game against Newcastle, a chastening experience for most United fans, he described United as pound for pound the worst club in the league and laughed when seeing distraught United fans disillusioned by what they were witnessing. These moments make fans wonder, does Gary Neville want Manchester United to fail, or has his determination to be unbiased turned into something more antagonistic? Gary Neville will always be remembered as a Manchester United legend, but his legacy as a pundit is becoming more complicated. Does his harsh criticism of United stem from a genuine frustration with the club's decline, or is he playing to the gallery, trying to prove his impartiality to rival fans? Whatever the reason, Neville's commentary has struck a nerve with United supporters, and the perception that he's one of the most ardent ABUs isn't going away anytime soon. So what do you think? Has Gary Neville gone too far in his quest to be unbiased, or is he just calling it as he sees it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe for more Man United content.